October 13, 1999. Rejected Pact. The United States Senate voted 51 to 48 to reject ratification of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. This vote marked a turning point in U.S. arms control policy and raised complex questions about credibility, verification, and non-proliferation. The rejection represented the first time since the Treaty of Versailles that a security-related treaty had been defeated by the Senate. The Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty had been negotiated in the 1990s to prohibit all nuclear weapon test explosions and other nuclear explosions in all environments. It included provisions for an international monitoring system, on-site inspections, and confidence-building measures to detect violations. Entry into force required ratification by 44 Annex II states, states with nuclear capabilities or research reactors at the time of treaty negotiation. Until all Annex II states ratified, the treaty could not become legally binding. The U.S. was among the most pivotal Annex II states. The Senate's rejection did not prevent the United States from remaining a signatory, but it prevented the United States from becoming a full party. It also undercut the U.S. ability to promote the treaty as a model for others and to insist on universal compliance. The Senate rejection deprived the United States of the legal and moral authority to encourage other states not to test and limited its leverage in future non-proliferation negotiations. The vote came after a sharply divided debate. Senators who opposed ratification argued that without testing, the United States could lose confidence in the safety, reliability, and effectiveness of its nuclear arsenal. They also expressed doubts about the ability of the monitoring and verification regime to detect covert tests or cheating. Many critics framed the debate in terms of national security and strategic flexibility. Proponents argued that the treaty would strengthen the global norm against testing and provide tools to detect illicit tests. This legislative defeat damaged U.S. credibility with allies and non-nuclear states. Many had expected that the United States would lead the arms control agenda after the Cold War. The vote signaled to other states that the U.S. might prefer flexibility over binding commitments. Some states delayed or withheld their own ratification movements, citing the U.S. ambivalence. The rejection also introduced tension into the review conferences of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Under the NPT, nuclear weapon states promised to move toward disarmament and to pursue agreements like the CTBT. When the U.S. failed to ratify, critics argued that it neglected its NPT obligations and damaged the internal logic of the treaty. The U.S. found it harder to advocate for new constraints on other states when it rejected a major constraint on itself. In the years following, the United States maintained a voluntary nuclear testing moratorium. The U.S. continued to rely on subcritical tests, computer simulations, and other non-explosive methods to assess its nuclear stockpile. Although Congress did not approve the CTBT, the U.S. tried to take a leading role in the preparatory commission and international monitoring infrastructure. Over time, a robust global network of seismic, hydroacoustic, infrasound, and radionuclide monitoring stations emerged, enhancing the capability to detect nuclear explosions. Yet, the treaty's entry into force remained blocked. Several other Annex II states did not ratify the CTBT. Because the treaty required ratification by all Annex II states, the U.S. failure to ratify alone kept the treaty from becoming binding international law. As a result, the norm against testing was supported more by political pressure than legal obligation. The 1999 Senate vote remains a cautionary moment in U.S. diplomatic history. It demonstrated how domestic politics can shape global disarmament outcomes. It showed that strategic, technical, and political concerns can override normative leadership. The rejection also remains central to debates over whether future U.S. administrations should seek renewed Senate discussion or alternative arrangements for constraining testing. The long-term significance lies in what it revealed: the limits of U.S. commitment under Senate advice and consent, the fragility of arms control norms without binding enforcement, and the challenge of aligning national security needs with broader non-proliferation goals. For enthusiasts of historical ephemera, visit history-collectors.com to find collectibles that might complement your collection. You can own a piece of history.